are not able to join us today. Okay, so nawala si Richie, si Ma'am, si Ma'am Odessa. But let's just move on. I'll just share my entire screen. Ayun ulit. I'll share my entire screen. So you see, you're able to see a lot of my, ayan, oops, my tabs. Ayan. Ano ba ito? Yeah, right. Bakit? Ay, ang hirap mag-click. Wait lang, I'll change it to ano. Present now. Tab window. Ayan. Okay. So let's talk about strategic planning and the marketing management process, no? And see, parang parang funnel approach, we'll talk about strategic planning in general and narrow down to the marketing management process and where marketing management comes in the big picture of strategic planning, because we are aware, no, from in our field, marketing management is just one function, and that it has to complement the other functions so that the bigger picture, meaning where the organization is going or intends to go, is realized. Okay, so let's begin with the marketing concept. It means that an organization should seek to make a profit by serving the needs of customer groups. This parang the needs of customer groups form the basic. It's a very basic and core concept. It's very redundant now. It's a core concept of marketing to focus on the needs of customers. Do you agree on this? Do you agree on this?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ano? Because recently I was trying to come up with, I was preparing my course on another in the undergraduate, and I was looking for materials on entrepreneurial leadership and some cases on entrepreneurial leadership, and I came across, Steve Jobs, and he has been known for being a visionary, and that for me he does not operate in this kind of paradigm, no? Because the marketing concept, when we say that we learn the needs of the customer groups and come up with solutions to meet these needs, uh there's some sort of information gathering first that happens before you come up with your business model. But for Steve Jobs, his idea, as his framework, is that, sometimes the customers doesn't know what they need, and you just have to present something, and that's when they will realize that, oh, they need that. Ganon. So in a way, that could be another lens to look at it. But for the marketing concept, this is what it is. No? It's customer centric, meaning we focus on the customers, learn as much as we can on the customers, so that we can come up with um, appropriate, no, relevant solutions to address their needs. And in that process, the open. We'll check time to time. Okay. So in the process, we hit all our targets, no, in terms of market share, in terms of the bottom line, things like that. So basically, this is it, no? This is what this, but of course, we can challenge, but this is the idea of marketing as far as marketing is concerned, the marketing concept. The American Marketing Association has its parang official definition of marketing. This is a recognized group or organization in the practice of marketing. And for them, they say that it's an organizational function, a set of processes which is composed of creating, communicating, and delivering value to customers. And in doing so, there is this strategy of managing customer relationships so that everything is beneficial to both the organization and the stakeholders. So we mentioned stakeholders here as a more general term, not only referring to the customers or the consumers, but also other parties that we we affect our business interacts with, like your public, the government, and the like. So that's why they have a more general term. Although this definition is already an evolution of definitions of marketing now as they grow in knowledge and understanding of the practice as well as grow in experience. So that's why they were able to come up with this. And if you notice, they're using the word creating, communicating, and delivering value to customers. So before, it was really as blunt as product, promotion, and distribution. No, but right now they are changing the narrative, no, the framing, no, the framing. So yun, creating, communicating, and delivering value. And then we know that when we say marketing, we don't just market a product. So when our contexts later on uh, would would not only involve companies dealing with products, but also services, persons, places, even causes and organizations. Marketing is applicable. And in fact, sometimes there is what we call the product service continuum, because organizations are you cannot find any organization these days that simply focus on product, no, rarely, if there is, rarely can you see that, because sometimes it's how they differentiate themselves from their competition by adding some service component to their market offering, no? So there is a continuum, extremely only product, and then extremely only service, and then along the way there is a hybrid, no, a little bit of service but still on product, until you move on to a lot of service with a little product that comes along with your market offering. Because remember, we are parang the paradigm now is not coming up with a product to address a particular need, but solutions in general. And if these solution that we are thinking that could address a particular need involves, a little bit of product and a little bit of service or more of each, then whatever it is, no, it can be technology, it can be software, for example, intangible, uh, then you have that. So actually, anything that is a subject of your marketing activities, it doesn't have to fall exactly on any of these types, then it's okay. So it's very these days it's very diverse already. Okay, so moving on. Now let's talk about the strategic planning process. So we know that an organization have their vision and their mission, no? Uh, and then they translate this to into more specific targets in terms of objectives. But by the way, you see a box here. Considering the environment when you come up with your vision and mission. So by environment, we are talking about external environment. So uh, you have your partners, you have your competition. By competition, we are talking about other companies within the same industry. But other than that, even if you're these days, we don't see competition as only those companies selling or offering to the market the same products or services yours, but even related industries could also be competitors, no? And then you look at your economic environment, your social, political, and legal, and that will all influence how you articulate your vision and your mission. And at the same time, actually, this external environment informs not only your vision and your mission, but your overall strategic plan, even how you go down uh, to the next level. You go down to the next level and become more granular to the various objectives, and these objectives could either be at the still at the organizational level and cascaded down to the different units of the organization. And then once you have the objectives, then this will be, I mean, you will have to determine your strategies, how you are going to achieve your objectives. And based on that, so remember that in strategic planning, the should I say the level of analysis, it is at the organizational level. So this is organizational strategies. This is not your like, how are we going to approach the customers? These are general strategies, general or overall strategies for the organization. So meron pang mas specific nito, because if this couldn't be at this point, no, this organizational strategies, this couldn't be very granular, because when that happens, if we are talking about, for example, marketing strategies at this point, then we couldn't be talking about portfolios. So this is at the organizational level. So, like, for example, you're talking of at the level of, uh, for example, holdings companies, no, because you're talking of portfolio. But you could also look at this as one big company, and your portfolio could be your different product lines. Pwede rin ganon, no? But that's the idea, no? The idea is that you have to consider the environment. You don't just uh, lay down your wishes and aspirations, no, for the organization on your own, but you also have to be mindful of your environment. And it's not mentioned here, but of course you have to also consider your internal environment, your resources, your people, your funds. So actually, when you do strategic planning, you consider your external and your internal environment. All right. So when you do okay, so at this point, yung organizational strategies, if you notice, there are a lot of options. Now, you can look at from the framework of Ansoff's growth. no, matrix. No, this is actually Ansof's growth matrix. Pwedeng ganito. This is how you look at uh, uh, this is the model that you will use to decide if you have growth objectives. Then if you have growth objectives, then you naturally you would have growth strategies, and this is one way of deciding what that growth strategy would be. So for this is Ansof's growth matrix, and the strategies, it provides four options for organizations in relation to its product and market. So for market, you can you have a you can decide that if you want to develop, uh, if you consider your existing markets and your existing products, but you want growth, then you do market penetration, for example. And then if you want still want to cater to your existing markets, and but you want to come up with new products for them, then you can opt for product development. Then if you want to pursue new markets with your existing products, then that's what we call market development. And then if you want to venture and explore new markets with entirely new products that you're not currently offering, no, products or services, then that is what you call diversification. um, by the
Doc,
way,
Doc Pam.
yes, Richie.
Ma'am, I just have a question po. This diagram po, does this also follow the concept of product life cycle po?
In a way, it could be a consideration. Product life cycle kasi is very specific on the product already, and consequently, parang medyo granular na siya po. This one is more of at the organizational level. Given your different products, what are you like market penetration, for example? So existing market, existing product. But in relation to the concept of product life cycle, if you want to look at it from that lens, parang ano na siya po, like in general, you want to penetrate the market. So yung implication nito is like you sell at lower prices, no, you increase promotion. But yung product life cycle, if you want to consider that, you look at, because if you have several products, for example, each of these may have different product life cycles, may be in different stages of the product life cycle. And if you want to look to also consider that, may implication kasi siya sa specific market penetration strategy that you will have to undertake. Because for example, if you want parang awareness, kasi although hindi siya magiging pag existing market na siya and existing product, hindi siya the parang I think generally the product is not new, so hindi siya introductory at the introductory stage. Usually siguro nasa maybe growth stage na siya, because you see that there is still room for growth, no, sa existing offering mo, or
Yes
pwede
po.
ding nasa matured ano na siya. So parang it also pays, yeah, it would also be good to look at it from that lens sa product life cycle, to validate kung ano man yung specific strategies na naisip natin at this stage at the organizational parang growth strategic planning pa. So kasi ito parang company-wide or organization-wide, but yun, if you want more, parang later on when we move to, for example, marketing, the strategic marketing plan, for example, then it would also be good to look at the product life cycle, no, to inform our decisions. So ganon.
Okay po. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for that, sir. So that's it now. So may may nakalimutan lang ako. Parang lumipad. No, but anyway, maybe I'll remember it later. So let's just move on now. Thank you for that question. You can actually ask question, although you need to turn on your microphone and let me know because I couldn't see. I couldn't see you. I have yet to learn the kung paano siya mag-split, no, so that I can see two windows.
Okay po.
Okay, so ayun. Then another, so this is based on like if you want to grow, like increase market share, increase market, ganun. But if you want to base your strategies, overall strategies on competitive advantage, then this one is also a way of looking at this, no? So what do you want? What do you want to happen? So what competitive advantage do you have? No? Differentiation or cost. Differentiation is, having unique attributes of your market offering, product or service offering, or whatever it is. Now let's please don't parang when we say product or service, we are actually referring to very general concepts of these. So it could be people. So would you want to focus on being unique, or would you want to focus your advantage on cost? Because this would later on entail very different activities, very different activities in terms of enhancing your business competencies, to achieve these competitive advantage. And then you would also be considering your market, in relation to your market, uh, in relation to your competitors. Because this is based on competitive advantage, so it's always uh, viewed, from a from the lens of a competitive environment. So there is someone there also serving your market. So your markets could be, you have to decide, no? So there are four options if you want your strategy to be based on competitive advantage. It could be like if you want low cost and then broad market, then you go for cost leadership, just like uh, examples of these, always cited, although maybe we are not so familiar with it because we don't have it, but Walmart is has always been a classic example for cost leadership. But locally you can like immediately pick out Cebu Pacific, for cost leadership. And then if you have narrow, medyo smaller market size, but in that particular segment you want to be uh the parang cost leader, no? So parang you compete based on low cost. So that's cost focus. And then if you want to be unique and then in a broad market, then you have differentiation leadership and then you have differentiation focus. So yun. So we have actually a lot. So if you notice, we are not talking about how do we promote, not how do we price our product, not yet. No? Because for example, if you choose cost leadership, then uh, only after that decision comes specific strategic decisions in terms of price. It may be in terms of operation, and it also has implications on product decisions for you to be able to achieve that cost leadership goal. Ayan. Mom Des, it's okay. I don't know if you're with us. I couldn't see, but Anyway, so since Mom Des is also having a problem with her connection, then we can just upload this video, no? And then what else? So first we have growth based on growth, intentions, and then based on competitive advantage, and then you can also have organizational strategies based on value. So you may pursue being or having the best price, so more of cost din siya, no? Best product or service. Then kasi pag ito yung pinili mo, yung best product and maybe best service, then you would be investing considerably on research and development, for example, or operations research, for example, so that you will be able to design the best product or service. But before you can do that, we have to decide on what our organizational strategy would be. No? Parang at the higher level. Okay? So let's go back. So we have this. Now, after organizational strategies, then we decide on what our portfolio is going to be like. Uh, of course, not. We wouldn't expect organizations these days to just be offering one product or one service to the market. Now, so marami talaga yan. So then that's why we call it portfolio plan. There are different ways of looking at portfolios. No? How do you decide if you are going to expand your product offering or market offering? Then you can look at this one. Huh? I included this slide to so that parang to remind us lang, no, if we've encountered this before, that it's okay to add products, and naturally in the beginning, especially when you look at it from the product life cycle perspective, when you just introduce a product, it will cost us a lot, from the R&D to introduction, because we would want to build awareness of our product if our product is new. But so definitely, when you have high costs in the beginning, this is the experience curve, then we expect that market share will not be so high. But eventually, as we increase market, then we get to enjoy. So that means if we increase market share, then production volume is up, or we scale up our services, and in the process we are able to achieve economies of scale, because our overhead costs will now be distributed to a wider or more product or service units. So in the process, market share increases and cost decreases as we gain through the years, as we gain more experience. But at the same time, no, we call this experience curve. Aside from that analysis, over time, really, if we are talking of the same product, we can expect that costs will go down, because through the years we will be able to learn, no? Merong learning kasi dyan. Siguro in the beginning, medyo ano pa yung technology, or if you have yung the idea lang na kasi bago mo pa ito ginagawa, medyo mabagal, medyo ganito yung mga ginagamit nating raw materials. But through the years, as you learn, no, through experience, medyo magiging mabilis na yan, no? So medyo marami na ang nagagawa, and in the process you get to lower the cost. And then also you will also learn kung ano bang better alternatives to your inputs, for example. So that this is a model, this is a theory that over time, talking about one product or one service, then your cost will really go down as you increase your market share. So in terms of looking at profit naman, no, or return on investment, yeah, yun, no. In the beginning, as you have directly proportional siya, no, not really, no, no, but this is an S curve, no. Parang meron siyang exponential growth, exponential increase, no, somewhere in the middle. Kasi uh, para din yung tingnan natin yung life cycle, no, na mabagal siya in the beginning, and then we will experience, as people get to know our market offering, then medyo may acceleration of adoption, so may rapid growth, but it will only happen until such time that we have saturated the market, so it approaches a parang plateau, no, or peak, no. But nonetheless, parang in this particular graph, you will, in a way, you can relate it to the product life cycle, because well, we can increase market share, but ROI so much can only be so much, because ano kaya ang mga possible reasons why uh, parang merong peak ang ROI? Do you have any idea?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
I think possibly because the product has been in the mark, I mean, in the industry already, so possibly na medyo nagkakaroon ng pagkasawa in terms of buying those products from our consumer, kaya naging stable yung kanyang ano, and then most probably the next phase of this one is already decline, if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken. Bababa
pwede
yung
siya,
market share
oo.
natin.
Mm. Ah,
So
yeah, actually, mag-i-increase pa naman ang market share, but yung return on investment, yung profit is parang it will reach a certain point lang, it will not go up anymore, no? Or
okay.
if we don't do anything about it, then it will really follow yung decline na trend na,
Mm-mm.
no? One reason could be ano na siya, yung as as you serve, parang sa ano ba yan? At some point you would need to infuse more resources, kasi like you couldn't serve a large market share if with the resources that you have started with, 'di ba? So you would need to infuse, so that would be an expense. So therefore, uh it will it will take away some portions of your profit, kasi i-increase yung expense mo, no, at some point, and then you have what's this? Nawala sa isip ko. So, maintenance, for example, no? Maintenance. So that would mean that you would need to maybe invest on your equipment to more efficient technologies. So in a way, parang ano siya. But maybe if hindi siya na-address, ito talaga, no, yung profit will really go down, no? But if we parang magiging ano siya, parang pwede siyang nag magplateau dito for some time, and then because you did something about it, then tataas na naman siyang ganyan. Pwede siyang gano'n ang magiging behavior niya. But at the onset, ganito yung magiging mangyayari if uh, ano siya, no? Yung yung sa first part pa lang, unless you do something about it. Ganun.
Doc,
Yes, yes, sir.
when we say do something about it, that means we will reinvent the product or what? maybe we
Mhm.
put new additional product lines or something po.
Oo, puwedeng gano'n. But, puwedeng gano'n, yeah. Or you can, infuse new technology
Okay.
to and this would, especially kung bagong technology siya, then this would initially be a material expense, no, or outlay, no, of capital. So in a way, yun ang magiging one of the reasons also why na mag-decrease yung ROI. But this one, hindi naman siya nagde-decrease eh. Hindi lang siya nag-i-increase, no? Taas pa din siya because the increase in your market size, your market share is ano siya, parang nag-compensate naman sa expense, no? So okay lang naman ito, pero parang what I think this graph is trying to tell us that it will not go forever going up. Meron talaga siyang peak unless we ano na naman, we do something, no? Like reinvigorate the product line, reinvent, enhance, ganon.
Mm, yes po.
Yan. But this is very ano ha, parang kumbaga sa economics pa, ceteris paribus, no? Like, this is not considering what our competitors, for example, are also doing because pretty sure they will not take us. Now, if we are the organization, they will not take us sitting down. So, medyo magiging erratic ito if we are really, this is just a general picture in terms of experience, like entering a market, introducing new products, ganun.
Okay po.
Okay. So then you could, so now, going back to yung portfolio plan, no? So if you decide, for example, that you will go for differentiation, so like, for example, Nike, no? Parang they focus on branding, ganon. Although, when you say cost leadership naman, meron din naman yung branding. And that's what you want to convey. Yung pagiging, ano mo, for your company to be really efficient in your operations that allows you to offer your products at very low prices compared to your competitors. So, hindi naman siya, as I was saying, hindi naman siya one product, no? Seldom can you find companies now that has one product line or companies that has one business only. So, meron siyang, we have the concept of portfolio. So, in order to optimize your returns, no? Returns, yun. They said that you should have the right mix of business units in your portfolio. So you have different classifications. I don't know if you have come across this before in your masters, but then there are companies in a portfolio that yields uh, more cash, revenues, for example, but it also use and then cash usage. Yeah. So in terms of market share, there are companies in your portfolio or business units in your portfolio that is enjoying a high market share and then also market growth rate. Don't confuse the two concepts. Now, when you say market share, it's your share of the pie, no? In relation to your competitors. When you're talking about market growth rate, you're looking at the whole market and if there is still room for it to increase or grow, no? So if you are in that kind of situation where you are catering to a high growth to high market growth situation and you are enjoying a relatively high market share, then those business units in your company is called your stars. That's how they classify it. You have the stars, you have the cash cows, and then you have the dogs, and then you have the question marks. So actually, when you are able to, according to BCG, now this is BCG is Boston Consulting Group. No? If you're able to analyze your business units, your portfolio in terms of these typologies, then meron siyang guide on what strategies to implement, no? What actions to implement, no? For example, if you have low, meron siyang mga recommend, you have question marks pala, companies, usually these are the new companies. So you have to make decisions in terms of, are you going to plow in more capital to make it grow, because so that eventually it will become a star, parang ganon. No? So that's how you make use of this BCG portfolio model to guide you in making strategic decisions. So you have stars, you have the cash cows, you have the dogs, and the question marks. I will just be presenting this here now. If you can actually look this up now, if you want more information on this. So ito yun, no? This is what I was saying earlier. So pag your business unit is classified as under the stars, no? That means that the company is earning high, it's stable, it's growing. Your strategy is maybe you invest more, you add more for growth, no? And then if you have high market share and growth, you have the cash cow, high market share and growth ang goal. So your strategy is to milk it. Parang siya ang magiging source mo, no? Pwede siyang magiging source mo of resources, like specifically funds, to invest in your other business units that are in the question mark, for example, or yun, dito. Or stars, for example, di ba? Invest for growth. So pwedeng, if you have a cash cow business unit, then you can source out your resources from your cash cow to invest more on your stars. Dito naman, if you have companies that are classified as question mark, so this is basically yung mababa yung earnings mo, yung profit, you are in a stable environment. For example, maybe you are up to very strong competition, or maybe the political environment is not in your favor, and your cash flow is negative, then you need to really look at the company, analyze it, so that you can make a decision on whether and anticipate whether it would be worthwhile to invest more money so that it can become a star, or you will just start letting it go and make it here in this quadrant here, no? So if you have this really, no, when you have units, especially when some uh, markets become mature, no, and it's difficult for you to adapt to the changes in your market environment, then sometimes that's the reason why some business units fall under this category, no, like yung mga printing, for example, yung mga printing business, when it 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 fails to adapt to technology, printing pa din sila. So, newspapers, for example, no, na meron na namang mga web-based platforms for news. So, dapat they should be considering that also. So, ayun, magiging dog siya, no? So, if you look at the newspaper industry For example, kung hindi siya nag-adapt sa web-based platforms, malamang nandito siya. Right? So, when you have business units like this, no, either you hold on actually, but pag ganito na kasi, meron ng pwede, yung suggestion talaga is parang kumbaga dying na siya, dying na siya. You have to reinvent it or or let's really completely let it go and focus on your other business units that are more promising. Ganon siya. No, so in a way, this is how you manage your portfolio. Right. So, but of course, yung that specific model has its critics. So it assumes that market growth is uncontrollable, but some practitioners uh, say that it is controllable because parang merong mga ganun, no? So because you just have to study the factors that affects market growth and see which ones are controllable. Maybe there are factors that are not controllable, but we focus energy on the controllable factors. Then the model also assumes that market share is a critical factor affecting performance, which is not necessarily true for some because pwede kasing hindi nag-grow yung market share mo, but you are still enjoying favorable returns on investment because of some other factors, no? Like more cost efficient technologies, or yung in relation to yung Ansofs kanina, no? You did not uh was this develop new markets, focus just only on existing, for example, but increase their consumption or usage of your product. Ganon, pwedeng ganon, na? So yung market share talaga sometimes may mga ano sila. Kasi relative kasi ang market share, right? Relative ang market share. Pwede siya in relation to market size and your competitors, no? What else? It assumes that the major source of SBU financing comes from internal means, no? Parang internal funding lang. But pwede naman kasing mag-infuse ng investments coming from external sources. No? And then it does not take into account the interdependencies that may exist between SBUs, which can somehow reinforce, no, and help, no, other, parang synergy using resources, especially when the SBUs are related industries, no, parang for example may logistics ka, then may barko ka din, and may freight company ka din, and then you have your own like a separate business unit. Parang naging cluster siya. Kung ano yung mga related industries, you have business units from those related industries. And then it also does not, some say it does not take into account any measures of profits and customer satisfaction, as well as assume that corporate strategy begins with an analysis of competitive position. Parang kasi yun ang emphasis niya. No? Okay? So yun ang criticisms. Then we have also the General Electric model. So we are talking about this because this is in relation to portfolio, and at the same time, this is also related to your strategies. No? Strategies. How are you going to achieve your objectives? So again, considering that you have several business units in your organization, so if you have a business that is strong and then the market attractiveness is high, then your overall strategy could be protecting your position. Ganon siya. This is how you interpret that. And then If you have low, for example, low market attractiveness, but in terms of capacity, in terms of financial resources, in terms of people resources, you are you are okay, you are strong, then you might want to look for other markets where you can utilize your full capacity. That's why we're saying here the suggestion is refocus. Okay? So yun, no? So we have options like manage for earnings, divest. This one here, this is the equivalent of your dogs. No? So G, by the way, is your General Electric model. This one, weak, but you have a moderate market attractiveness. So, pwede kang mag-expand, but not so much because you can only do so much given your weak business strength. So, ganito yun, no? These are the considerations. So, in GE, we have the following, no? So, when you look at the attractiveness, what do you assess? You look at your market size, your market growth, the profitability of of the market, of the industry, by the what I mean, and then cyclicality, yung seasonality, ability to recover from inflation, and then world scope could also be an indicator. For business strength, there are two areas that you can look into. Your market position in relation to, of course, your competition. So you look at domestic market share, world market share, if possible or applicable. Then how the rate of growth of your market share, and then share in relation to your leading competitor. No? And then you look at your competitive strength. This one is more of your internal, no? Internal. When you say strength, it's always looking inside into the organization. So the quality of your leadership, the technology that you have, your marketing competence, and relative profitability. All right. So if you have questions, just raise them uh, along the way now, so that we can move on to looking at marketing management now specifically. So because we are managing marketing, then we go through the planning, implementation, uh, what is that? Monitoring, evaluation, and control. So nandun na lahat 'yon. But what do we plan? What do we implement? It's all related to marketing, no? Planning, executing the conception, pricing, promotion, and distribution of goods, services, and ideas so that we can make exchanges happen with our intended market in such a way that we are able to satisfy not only the needs of our customers but also our organizational objectives. Okay, so yun, no? If we have our strategic plan earlier, no? Ito yung kanina eh. So, 'di ba yung last element natin doon is organizational portfolio. So, going a little in terms of level, no? You become more granular. You look at each unit in your portfolio and you come up with your marketing plan. Ito na yung medyo mas specific. So, in the marketing plan, we are aware that we still do need to analyze our environment kung saan tayo nag-ooperate for that particular business. Kasi 'di ba earlier we said portfolio nga eh, so iba-iba. And so because it's iba-iba, then we also have different external environment. Yun. So situation analysis, or sometimes other practitioners or experts call this environmental scanning. We come up with our marketing objectives, and then we select, no, kung saan ba natin ito i-offer so that we can hit this objective. Yun. So, target market identification, and then we formulate what is going to be our product promotion, pricing, and distribution strategy. If dito, yung parang ano ba yan? Social demographic, cultural environment, natural environment, technological environment ang tinitingnan, external. Dito naman, external pa rin, but it's more of, we really pay more attention to competition. Although, no, sinasabi nila, there are arguments that if we focus too much on competition, parang we fail to see the big picture. Parang lagi lang tayong naghahabol. Diba? So, merong ganong mindset or paradigm ang ibang companies or organizations. But nonetheless, they still make use of market information and make use of market research to make, parang, ano naman, information-driven decision making for this, in coming up with this one. Oops. Wait. Yun. So, once you have your marketing plan, you implement and control. Tapos, yung data gathered in monitoring, ito yung control, yung monitoring and evaluation. What you learn from this activity will be plowed back to your strategies na naman for reconfiguration, reformulation, adjustment. Okay? Kasi minsan, di ba, we all know that a plan is a plan. When you go out there in the field, it's going to be a different story. Okay? So, yun. What else? Okay. Excuse lang, saglit ha. Saglit lang. Ayun. So, this one is also another way. Earlier, we were mentioning about looking at external, what's this? External environment and particularly your competitive environment. So this one, ito yung one guide, no? Michael Porter, if you are familiar with Michael Porter, he has come up with this diamond model to help us in our analysis of our external environment, so that somehow we will not leave out any stone unturned, so that decisions in terms of strategies are more informed. So ito yung suggestion na you look at factor conditions from strategy, structure, and rivalry, demand conditions, then related and supporting industries. Demand conditions pertain to, well, we know, no, this is your market. This one is yung ano ba ito? How many players are there? Yun. So your strategy would be dependent. We'll also consider your situation or your situation in terms of firm structure and rivalry. Ano ba ito? Regulated ba ito by the government? Merong mga ganong considerations, no? So this will also put some constraints into the strategy that you're going to decide on. And then factor conditions, yung inputs. Do we have the human resources to make these happen? What else? Yung production requirements. And we don't forget the related and supporting industries because uh, 'di ba, hindi naman natin ari ang lahat ng companies that will bring us, or that will allow us to produce or offer to produce our products or offer our services. Kailangan natin yung, for example, you're an airline, merong maintenance company, merong magsusupply ng eroplano. So you have to consider related and supporting industries because al- our business also depends on it. Ganun siya. Okay, so there are actually okay. I think this is for module 3 already. So we will stop at this point na lang, and we will go into this some more. I will share additional materials for you on this because I think in module 3 we have an activity for this, no? So dito na lang muna tayo. No? So based on that general overview, kasi yung sa masters natin, I will stop sharing. Sa masters natin, our focus was more of yung function of marketing, no? So, dito sa DBA, we will kasi kung sa CEO na tayo. Okay, so ganun. So how is kaya our discussion would be more of at the macro level and at the strategic level, no? So, yan. So at this point, meron ba tayong questions uh, based on that, and kasi magbabasa pa tayo, no? So if yung based on sa readings nyo and based on the case analysis, uh, there is a forum provided in our mole class for this particular topic or module. So pwede din kayong mag-post ng questions doon, and then we can reply to it. We can share our thoughts on your questions. But again, not only questions, but pwede ring meron kayong mga point of views that you would like to share, and then we can see. Hello. And then we can see how we can develop the discussion on that particular point of view, and expand, enhance our learning. So, yun siya for now. Do you have any questions? What are your parang ano ba ang nasa isip ninyo ngayon? It may not be a question, but what are your thoughts? Okay ka na, Ma'am Des? Parang naging clear ka na.
Okay na, ma'am. Kaya nagbalik ng kuryente.
Oh, okay, good.
10:05.
Okay, good. Sige, Ma'am Des, your thoughts, Ma'am Des. Share
Yeah,
lang.
yeah,
Not
just
necessarily questions. Yan.
it was great, and then it's good also that you differentiated sa MBA level, MBM level sa regarding marketing management kay medyo yun nga, although kuan siya kanang we're thinking on the macro level, no, kanang sa kanang
Mm.
level, so I'm trying to let it sink in kung yeah, murag na-introduce ko during that time sa MBA,
Uh,
sa MBA na subject, how the scope, the
uh-huh.
function, yeah, you're correct, no, katong gingon ni mo, ma'am, na the function, and yet kanang isa lang man gud siya ka subject, so medyo na-overwhelmed pa ko. So I'm glad that I'm going to read pa gyud, so I will have a deeper understanding of the subject matter.
Actually, Ma'am Desna, if you have questions at the functional level, it's still I think it's okay to also discuss this because that was only my assumption, no? But especially that Sarichi it comes from another MBA program, and you also come from another MBA program. So I don't really have any idea how far you are in terms of your knowledge, no, on the marketing function. But we can also have that. No, you just raise the question so that we can talk about it. I'm I would I think I find it more effective for for all of us if discussions become more purposive, no? So like you come across a material and then there's something that when you relate it to your actual experiences or from another reading, for example, and then you find some issues or which may not be necessarily negative, no, or contradicting, no, you can raise them up and then we can talk about it. Okay, I find that like we have a full course on we have a whole program on marketing management. We have a master's degrees on marketing. We have master's degrees on specific to marketing communications lang. So it's a very broad area, and I wouldn't I wouldn't I couldn't imagine how we can cover everything. So that's why at the onset, for starters, we can start with strategic, since with the assumption that mostly you'll be doing consultancy, for example, no, consultancy, for example, at the organizational level. So yun. But if you still need to reinforce your knowledge on at the practice level, at the business unit level, at the product level, at the brand level, then we can also do that. Just raise them up. If not during synchronous hours, like meetings like this, you can post your questions in the forum. Uh, I would be very happy to see questions posted there because mas alam ko kung ano ang provide ko na input to you, and then maybe you can also I would encourage you to share your points of view, not necessarily just to agree and agree. Like try to question, because even for me there are a lot of models, no, there are a lot of models, and in this very dynamic field, no, I couldn't even recommend a one best model to base our strategies on, our decisions on. No, it's very dynamic and fluid, because it's always contingent to the context, no, of the issue, marketing issue, organizational issue. So what we are after here is to let you be aware that there are several lenses that you can look at an issue, so that when you are confronted with one, then you are in a better position to analyze it from different, from different perspectives. Ganun siya, ma'am. So I would be very happy if you are able to raise points of views and questions in class like this or in the forum. So right. So how about you, Sir Chi?
Ako ma'am, more of ano siya po, more of realization and understanding kung, kasi reading through with the article last night, the Nike and the Google, um
Oo.
kasi I was really asking myself, if I am the Adidas company, what would I do to counter this kind of strategy that they are having? But then, it's really a broad thing out there that we have really to look into every detail of it in terms of marketing perspective and company strategy
Mhm.
perspective. So, um, what I'm saying is, now I would have answers to my own questions that this might be the approach that they are doing, and this might be
Mm.
because you were able to identify every little detail that
Ah.
in there in
Para
terms of,
oo.
I don't know if there are still things that needs to be discussed, but then as of the moment I am
Ah,
really
ah.
satisfied.
Okay. So parang as we go along, no? Uh we have our own encounters with the real world. Sometimes ganun kasi yung mga naririnig nating comments, 'di ba? Ay, theory masyado, gano'n. Actually, 'pag I hear those kind of comments, I get I get pressured kasi, oo nga naman. Pero I always see yung parang, yung the process of learning as parang ano ba, yung theory and practice complementing each other. The 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 practice informs theories. Parang from practice what is happening, we can create theories, and then like if we already have existing theories and models and frameworks, sometimes often it also helps us make sense of what is being done in the practice. And ay, kaya pala ganito yung response kasi it has been found before that ganito ganito. So it will also help us make decisions, actually, yung theories. So moving forward, if you're interested in working on this this area of management in your dissertation, then pwede siyang gano'n, no, na we improve practice by, we improve theory by discovering something in 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 practice, gano'n. Or we can apply a theory to practice, and then what if we find that there are different outcomes,
Right.
then it's it's an addition to inform, to come up to inform theory na naman. So very interesting, no? Very
Yes,
So,
interesting.
so today is more of validations po. Validations
Ah,
in terms of the things that were given to us.
before.
Although scientific validations, I would say.
Kaya nga, oo, hindi pa nga ako nag-present ng, kasi marami sila. Marami sila actually. Then you can take, you cannot sometimes when you talk of when you talk about yung strategic level concerns na of an organization, hindi mo siya minsan na-isolate na marketing related, although there's such thing as strategic marketing, no? Which is very near to organizational strategy. I mean, for all, among all functional areas, parang yun ang pinakamalapit, because yung earlier we were talking about overall organizational strategy. Pero if you look at it, when you say cost differentiation, although you can approach it from a finance lens, ano pa din siya, yung parang you also need to consider kasi market response, no? So behavior. So parang marketing pa din siya. May, in a way, parang halo-halo na siya, no? You can't isolate it from other fields of parang masyadong serious yung fields of knowledge, knowledge no? Or other fields. So yun, no? I would encourage you to parang not constrain ourselves with, like, kung marketing lang talaga. We also need to consider other, especially that marketing is I would say a multidisciplinary field, no? Parang may psychology siya, so andyan na naman si Ma'am Odessa. And then actually may pagka economics siya, behavioral economics, yung sa costing, marginal analysis, ganyan ganyan, meron siyang gano'n na aspect. And then, in a way, we have, pare, sociology and all that, even politics, meron siyang gano'n. No? And then for product, we have research and technology. So, it's a really multidisciplinary field. So, parang, we can tap all of these things that we know in these areas, and so that to make our discussion and learning experience interesting. Yun. So, moving forward, yung case natin, I couldn't uh, discuss this and have it uploaded yet kasi meron pang hindi nag-submit. So, maybe we can park that and wait for the others, and then pwede na tayong mag-move on to the next module na lang. You can, we can move on to the next module, which I am going to set up pa today after this, para you will know what to, what what will happen in the next coming weeks. Yung ang ibig kong sabihin na park muna is at least you're done now. Let's just wait for the submissions of the others. Just evaluate each other's work na lang, and then if parang we will take it while we are running the next module. Parang i-run lang natin yon yung learning ano natin while we move on to the next module. Parang hindi tayo magiging serial. Parang magiging concurrent siya to help us manage time. Para at least we have the semester. Pero I hope naman na matatapos na natin yun, no? And discuss and apply on that some concepts on that particular case. Yun. Kasi meron pa tayong ibang gawin.
Ay, ma'am, sorry po.
Yes.
Ma'am, siguro po I think mas magiging ano po siya, mas magiging effective in terms of connectivity kapag magkakaroon tayo ng messenger group.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yes. I was also thinking that earlier, no? Kasi earlier, both kami ni Ma'am Odessa, may ano kami, power failure. So, I thought na hindi siya babalik agad. So, paano ko ba? I-email ko ba? Actually, nag-text ba? Sige, you can send me, I can create the chat group, and then you can, ano lang, check your you can check your yung ano ba 'yun? Yung parang message request if
Opo.
kasi kung hindi pa tayo contacts, so that para ma-create na yung group, no?
Yes,
Mas
ma'am.
madali din kasing i-reach out yung sa iba on Messenger. Pwede rin. Sige, I can initiate that.
Thank you po.
Okay. So, any other questions? No more? So,
No more.
I'll send out a text blast. Nare-receive niyo naman yung text blast, ano?
Yes po.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll send out a text blast and to inform you kung up and running na yung module 2. Right now, ano pa lang, introduction pa lang yun nandun. But I'll be working on it after this. So, I'll let you know, okay?
Okay po, ma'am.
Sige. So, I think that will be all for this morning.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
then, see you in the forums.
Thank
Okay
you
po.
po.
Ma'am,
Thank
may
you.
klase
Okay.
sa
Ha?
application? Natay klase?
Mm, ano ba yung nandoon? Wait lang ha. I will like let me stop recording. Ayan.